Hello. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Open Source Forum 2025. All of you members, thank you for being here, for coming at our gathering. And what I want to do is set the stage for what are our goals for today and how we're going to work to try to achieve them. We're trying a number of new things. Before I start, I want to say this. Moana 2, produced here in the studio, crossed $1 billion at the box office a few weeks ago. So it's worth noting. It's always great when that happens. Congratulations. We're very happy to see these big success coming out of all this combination of artistry and technology that you use at the studio. This is our 7th forum, open source forum. We've had it since 2019, and I'll tell a little bit more about that. It is the place originally where we want our members, to get together once a year in a smaller meeting so we can consider questions and strategies and decide ask ourselves where our foundation should go next, particularly in times of transition and change, which we are into right now. I want to announce that we have 2 new members joining us as of this open source forum, Renault Visual Effects and Stability AI. Congratulations, thank you for joining us at the foundation. Yes. This is our timeline. You've seen the earlier version of it. It keeps extending into the future, and here we are in 2025. I'm not going to go into this. I used to do a State of the Foundation address at the forum. I will not do that today. Don't miss it. We will keep that for the open source days. We'll get right into our programs, but you have here in a nutshell, in one slide, the history of all the companies that are supporting us, the projects that came into our foundation and the conference that we did, including our 5 years old milestone where we asked ourselves where to go next, and we talked about that in previous forum. This is about this year, a few things to mention. So we are at the forum. Our other big conference is Open Source Days at SIGGRAPH. The date is set. It's August 10, 2025 in Vancouver, BC. And we have also new conference or events that we are promoting. One of them is Dev Days that we started to do 2 years ago. Dev Days focused on engineers and people who want to learn or to come on board to participate into projects and they have never done it before. Dev Days are for you. And Dev Days has evolved from an event that we did once a year to a process that we want to be continuous, where all of our projects at the foundation ultimately are ready to welcome new engineers and people who want to contribute any time of the year. But we will continue to do punctual Dev Days moments where we will promote them, and we will encourage people to, we'll have all hands on decks for people and engineers to come in and join our projects. We also have the Summer Learning Program, which is a great conference, a small program that has been led by our Diversity and Inclusion Working Group. They've done amazing work in so many fronts. We're going to elevate the Summer Learning Program as an event that we will also promote from our foundation itself. So quick recap, Open Source Days, it's in August 10, 2025. You can go to the website, registration's open already. And Dev Days, same thing, website is open. If you have engineers who have not worked in open source or with our projects, and you want to give them the opportunity to do so, have them register for Dev Days that are going to be May 15th and September 25th, 25. So here we have a new venue and a new format. In the previous iteration of our forum, we were in museums, at the Academy Museum, at the Peterson Museum. And our format had evolved from something that we wanted to be interactive originally to more like a series of presentation, to the point where some of our presenters were wondering, oh, where should I present my project? Should I do it at Open Source Forum or at Open Source Days? There was confusion a bit because the 2 events were so similar. So that and other things led us to recast the format into a more interactive and focused forum based around a specific question. And in doing that, we are going back, so you're familiar with that slide, to the investigation that led to the creation of our foundation, the investigation at the Science and Technology Council of the Academy that was looking at open source, and that came with the conclusion of creating the Academy Software Foundation. Some of you were there at that time. And our first forums were an attempt at replicating this interactive roundtable kind of environment where we discuss important topics. And so we're bringing back our forum to that. So even though we're in a theater and you're sitting in a comfortable seat and all, today we will enlist you to contribute into our foundation in a number of ways. First of all, our team, as you've seen in the website, is open source and new technologies impacting studios. So by now, our foundation is 7 years old, and we have done pretty good in developing a base, an infrastructure for our open source projects, and to help the engineers in our industry who work on open source, providing them a forum and clearly defined environments where the guidelines are clear so that various competitors can work together on sharing and working on software that benefits all. We have not been very present in the new technology side of our industry so far. And of course, this here represents some of the many milestones of innovation that happened in the motion picture industry since the beginning, starting with screening and editing and sound and color and widescreen special effects, computer-generated animation, open source in 2003, virtual production, high frame rate, down to streaming service, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, which is today, of course, top of mind to everyone. And then whatever comes up next, quantum computing or all of it. The question for today, centered around open source and new technology, and so centered for, at this moment in time, open source and artificial intelligence, is what can we do in our foundation to bring the benefit of open source into new technology? How do we need to structure ourselves? That's going to be the question, and we want you to participate with us in answering it. We want your feedback. We want your input into that particular question. So, taking that in stride, artificial intelligence. So there was an article here at the end of January in Variety that actually summed it up pretty well. What is the sentiment in our industry? Studios are still uncertain about generative AI for sure, and AI in general. And if you browse through these 3 bullets, there's a certain level of being unresolved regarding generative imagery due to copyright and lack of assurance about data security. And there's some discussion about solutions, creating set of evaluation criteria. At Variety, they did this survey, which is kind of interesting. The question being, which of the following, if any, does your company consider an obstacle to effectively adopting generative AI? Lack of skilled AI personnel being at the top, and then all the rest of it, consumer backlash, copyrightability. I thought they did a pretty good job at listing most of the issues and that are around the topic at the moment. And that's something that we can discuss in our interactive session in more details. So, as I said, the goal for today is to explore the space at the intersection of open source and new technologies, using AI as a practical example. And the question is, what action can the Academy Software Foundation take to help our industry at the intersection of open source and new technologies in general? So we have that agenda that you've seen, a great agenda in 2 segments. First, we're going to have presentations, and we will have no Q&A for the presentation. It's kind of speed dating. We're going to go through them all, but we will have polls for each one of them where you can write your questions as you think of them about what the speaker is talking about. We'll get into the details of that in a second. Once we reach the afternoon break after the presentation, we'll go into a moderated discussion the topics being in two segments. First, we'll bring back our speakers, and we'll look at the questions that you will have entered into the polls for each presentation. And then we will, in the second part, we will consider the big questions that I mentioned here, moderated by Mike Ford and Eric Bourque, that are going to help us with that segment. So there will be polls. And in order to train us on the polls, many of you are familiar with the way we do that. But for each presentation, as I said, that will allow you to enter questions as you think of them and rate the questions of others. There will be no live Q&A, okay? Repeat that again. And in our first poll, I want to use a segment or a quote from this book that just came out a few weeks ago from Reid Hoffman, the founder of LinkedIn, now at Microsoft, who has been overseeing the OpenAI acquisition, quote unquote, that Microsoft did. And within the book, I recommend it if you want to have a book written by a booster of AI, if it's needed. You can read that book, and you will. There'll be a good read. But when it comes to new technology, Reid Hoffman presents these four different type of people who are looking at new technology in general and AI in particular. The doomers, the gloomers, the bloomers, and the zoomers. So each one of them are defined this way. The doomers are those who think that we're all going to die. This technology is going to destroy mankind. The gloomers are the ones that are beware of job loss, bias, disinformation. The bloomers are those who are more positive and optimistic, but think we should cultivate and grow this over time. And the zoomers are those who want total freedom, full speed ahead, break things, no rules, no laws, and want to go into total way forward. So we're going to do a first poll, number one. And the question is, which category best represents your thinking about AI? So please go to either pollev.com/ASWF, or you could text text ASWF to 2232, or you can look at that QR code. And we can switch to the poll now. And you've already started, some of you, to answer it, so that's great.
Can I do a quick PSA, David?
Yes.
For those of you, if you're having a cell phone problem in the room, because I know not everyone's going to have service, there's the guest Wi-Fi is on Litwax Arcade. You can sign as a guest there. That's helpful.
Litwax Arcade from Wreck-It Ralph. Right. Yes, all right. That's good. So this is good. We would like all of you, including our audience online, please, on Zoom. You can also do this. And everyone should chip in. We have a doomer, two doomers, okay? All right. And then a whole lot of bloomers, and a few zoomers. So that's good. I was expecting bloomers to get ahead. I think we have a good crowd of bloomers here. That is great. So thank you for that. So you can keep your phone and whatever device you have on that page. As we change Zoom, it will update on your phone. If it doesn't, you can refresh, but then you'll be able to answer all the questions that we have moving forward. OK, if we can go back to the slides, please. So with that, we're going to move to the next part of our presentation. And